Welcome to Dental Nachos CE on TV, a place where I could live out my backup dream. My original dream was playing in the NBA, like you saw there in the video. I'm so thrilled to have Eric Cohen, CEO of Merchant Advocate. Eric, you're welcome to join me when you are ready. Are you getting ripped off by your credit card processing company? Do you pass fees along to your patients? We're going to talk about that and more on this fun video podcast with Eric Cohen. Merchant Advocate is a key resource and sponsor. They have helped Dental Nachos dentists save thousands of dollars for literally not having to do anything. If you would like to find out how they can help you, just text merchant to 215-543-6454. You may be watching this on recording, so if you have questions, just shout them at your phone. Just kidding, you cannot do that. You can text the question to 215-543-6454. I'll get it answered for you. If you're here watching live on Zoom or Facebook Live, please feel free to ask questions in the chat. My Nacho team scanned Facebook Live for me. So Eric, welcome to Dental Nachos TV, a place where we help dentists do three things: increase success, decrease stress, and reduce crying inside. This is what it feels like to be a dentist crying inside, paying too much for a service, your amazing team fighting over who took the last roll of paper towels, your patients asking, does my insurance cover this? So this is my contribution to our community. I'm so thrilled to have you. I would love for you to just orient our community into who you are and what you do and what your company does.
Yeah, no, thanks, Paul. Pleasure to be here. And, the shot you made there probably would take me 1,000 shots. So,
oh, thanks.
Yes, sir. So, I want to talk a little bit about who we are and what we do, and then I'll kind of go into some other things. I've been in the credit card processing world for about 25 years. And I used to own a company that was one of the annoying companies that you all get called on 2-3 times a week. You'll get a phone call. Hey, we're with processing. We could lower your rate. We'll be cheaper. We'll be faster. Your office managers get this call every week, right? And that's what I used to do, right? I used to have a team of about 1,000 people out there knocking on doors. And what I realized was this: after you sign up for credit card processing, the rates are great until 6 months goes by. Then Visa changes something, MasterCard changes something, the processor needs to make more money, and all of a sudden you're paying more, and then you're paying even more. And even worse in the dental space is most of dentists and offices are locked into a Dentrix or a EagleSoft or some sort of system, and they don't have choices of where to process. About 16 years ago, I walked into an office, and I found the office manager, and I said, listen, don't switch your processor to me. I don't want your business. And she looked at me like I had 3 heads. She goes, what do you mean? Aren't you in sales? Don't you want to make money? I said, yeah, but I don't want your processing. What I want to do is I want to use our expertise and optimize your account, not negotiate your account, which is part of it, but optimize your account. Look at every detail, see what the hidden fees are. And if I save you $1, share 50 cents. And she said, sign me up. And I kind of looked at her. I go, well, I don't have a company yet, but I'll be back next week with an agreement, right? That's where this started about 16 years ago. We started going out there and we help everyone. It's not just dentists. It's really anyone that takes credit cards, but I'd say a good 25% of our business, and we have, 5,000 plus accounts right now. So well over 1,000 accounts are in the dental market.
I love that. Eric, I say, I don't interrupt. I said, I interject with good ideas, but since I like to just kind of keep a theme to how to make dentists understand this, if we did use the example of a cable bill and somebody was paying $100 a month for cable and they used Merchant Advocate of cable and they lowered it to $80, that other $20, part of it's from Merchant Advocate cable and part of it's for the customer. Is that how this works?
Correct. We share in the savings, and lucky for everyone here, usually we share 50% of the savings, but through your network, we decided to reduce that to 40%.
I like that. My grandmother was like, right, Eric, people are lucky to know me. They're lucky to know
me. Absolutely. Right.
So real quick, they say, show me studies of how this works. Show me studies of XYZ. And what I can share with you, you guys have been partners with us and sponsor all. We have practice owners that are saving thousands of dollars thanks to you. And it's not just 1 year. The impact of these savings on their practice over 20 years is just phenomenal.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, when you save, and this is what, Paul, most people don't look at, we might save like 0.5% or 1%. And people go, it's not that much money, but that's on the gross sales volume. That's 3 to 5% of a net bottom line. So
Right.
it's a huge amount, right? And here's what's happened, right? Over the last 16 years, we've saved hundreds of millions. Where we built technology and all this. And so we look at every line item every month. And what we're seeing now is the new way of hiding fees is it looks like you're paying a fee that should be a real fee. But when you do the math, it doesn't calculate. So for example, if a card's supposed to cost X, it's now costing X times 2. So we now have built this technology to read every line item every single month in the statements. And that's really what we're seeing. Another thing we're seeing here in the dental market and a lot of medical markets is because you're usually integrated, right? A lot of dentists use the Dentrix as a main software and practice management or EagleSoft or any of these. These companies now are basically saying, hey, if you want to process transactions and you want it in the system, you have to use WorldPay or you have to use Global or you have to use XCharge. And that is a huge red flag. Because once they have you handcuffed and they have the keys, they can do anything you want, right? So we're starting to see people.
What you're sharing is it's common for people to feel like they're getting a good deal, but as time goes on, they get worse of a deal and it's hard to identify how that happens. The other thing I want to share, and I want to get into all of your details and education, but if someone was watching saying, oh, I want to be like those nacho dentists that save money. And just one of my favorite movies is Philadelphia. Denzel Washington said, explain it to me like I'm a 4-year-old. I love having things explained that way.
Yep.
Someone can literally go and get, what do they need to give to your team to either find out, can we save you money or you're good, right? It's only 2 good answers. You can save your money or you're good. What do they have to give?
So all we need is 1 to 2 months of their merchant statements. And here's the cool thing. We don't even want an agreement. I don't want anyone to sign an agreement before I see if there's money, right? If you send me 1 to 2 month statements, and Paul, you could share, I think we have a link with you.
Yeah, my team will share that in the chat. People can also just text merchant to 215-543-6454. They'll get that back.
Great. And so what happens is they send 1 or 2 months of their merchant statement. We will then come back and say one of 2 things. You're good. You don't need us. Thank you for the opportunity. Or there's thousands or tens of thousands of dollars in savings. Here's our 1-page agreement. And better yet, the 1-page agreement's written in English. There's like no legalese to it. There's 1 paragraph that has to be there, but it's written where anyone can understand it, right?
Awesome. So I appreciate you sharing that process. We've shared the stories, and I know you've come with some educational value. So I'll let you kind of start your process of telling us how to be more aware, prepared, and educated as a dental practice owner.
Yeah, and it is, you're right. It's all about education, right? And as an office manager, or if you own a practice and you're looking at your office manager and you're saying, hey, why aren't you catching these things? It's, if you look at your cell phone bill and think about this, how many people look at a cell phone bill and you can't understand it? Yeah. The merchant account is 10 times worse. It's written in a foreign language, right? So the office manager who's working hard for you and really doing great things, they look at the statement and their eyes cross. There's no way, and it's done on purpose. So when we get the statement, we read it through our technology. And again, it's not just about rate. It's, if you're hand keying transactions and you're not doing it correctly, you're going to pay 1% more. If you're taking, this is big now, if you're taking insurance, the insurance companies are now remitting payment via virtual credit card. They'll fax a credit card to your office. Those cost 3 to 3.5%. There's a way to cut that in half. Okay. And that's how we educate the merchants, how to process those transactions, how to push them. But, one of the other topics that we kind of wanted to get into, right, and is this whole idea of passing the fee to your patients, right? And
I want to share before you jump in. So I create a lot of spicy polls, and I'm going to act as a consumer and a dental practice owner. Seems to me like a few years ago, I was noticing that people were charging me when I was running around the world a credit card processing fee. And is that legal to do, right? Because people say, this is not legal to do. Is it legal to do?
It is if it's done correctly, and it's really, really important. I think what you're going to see today is restaurants are the first ones after gas stations. Gas stations have been doing it forever. in the Northeast, especially, like I live in the Northeast in New Jersey, 85% of all restaurants are passing a fee. I just got a call from one of them saying, hey, we're about to get a $25,000 fine because we're doing it wrong. Okay.
Jeez.
So very, very important. Do I think that you should pass this fee? I'm 50-50 on it, right? I mean, there's a reason for it, but
let's talk about passing the fee for a second as a dentist.
Yep.
Okay. So pretend this basketball's a crown for $1,000.
Yep.
I've been in dental practice for 15 years. Even if I have a great credit card processing rate and it's 2%, let's say, I don't know if that's great to you or not. It's 2%.
Yeah, that's great.
2%. So I pay $20 to let the patient use their credit card. I've
Yes.
never thought of charging the patient $20, but just so we're all on the same page on this webinar, it is charging $1,020 for the crown instead of $1,000 if they use a credit card.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Now, here's the real education behind this. There's what's called a cash discount, which is a play on words, and there's what's called a surcharge. Okay. You are not allowed to surcharge a debit card. And in the dental market, right? The dental market, we know historically 40 to 50% of all transactions are debit cards. They're not with a PIN number, they are just debit cards. Okay. So if you add a convenience fee, a surcharge, whatever you want to call it fee, and you're doing it on debit cards, it's against guidelines. It is not legal to do. Okay. So the world came out of merchant processors and said, hey, let's do cash discount. In that scenario, which I don't really believe in, but there's a reason to do it. What you're doing is you're saying there is a service fee or a customer service fee or a patient service fee of 2% on all transactions. If you pay by cash, you'll receive a discount. Okay. It's a play on words. It's semantics.
Now tell me, I'm just curious because I think this has happened to me at camps for my kids. I think that I was just talking with one of my operations. He said, we're doing daycare, and they said it's $500 a month. It's probably more than that. But if you pay with a check, it's $480 a month. And she said, well, I'm going to find a check to pay with because that's 20. But tell me why you don't like the cash discount for dentists. I'm actually totally curious.
I don't like cash discount because if I give you a debit card, you're still surcharging it, but you're giving me a discount. You're still tacking a fee on. It's a play on words.
Yeah.
If I go into my dentist or store or anywhere, and I go up to the counter and I spend $1,000 or $500, and I give them my debit card, which is cash. All debit cards are cash. I don't like the fact that I'm getting a fee.
Gotcha.
I much rather someone do a surcharge, which is legal in 48 states now. I think Massachusetts and maybe Connecticut. I have to check into it. It's not. The reason I like surcharge is you're only surcharging on credit cards, not debit cards.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm with you.
So I'm a patient. I'm walking in. My tooth hurts. I'm not happy I'm there. I come out. I get a bill for $500 and you tack a fee on for $10. And I give you a debit card. I'm not happy. If the sign up there says, hey, listen, you know what? On credit cards, we have to tack this fee on because it is a surcharge of 2 or 2.5%. The idea is this: the dentist should not pay for someone's rewards. People use credit cards for reward points. Okay. There's no rewards on debit cards. It's all credit cards. You want to get your points, it's 2%, period. Okay. Or 3% or 1.5%. You could subsidize it. You could charge you as long as you don't make money on it, you can do whatever you want on the fee. If I see that sign that says 2.5% on credit cards, cash, check, or debit card, nothing. I'm going, here's my debit card. Why? Because I always have a debit card, right? I mean, if it's $1,000, maybe someone doesn't have it, and I can understand that, but that's the preferred model. You also, with that model, you get registered with Visa, MasterCard. So there are no fines. There are no hiccups. It's one of those things, right? And there is a way, and I've had customers say, that's great, but I want to pay 0 for merchant services. Okay. Instead of 2.5% for credit cards and nothing for debit cards, charge 3% for credit cards and nothing for debit cards. And the processor will net it all out and your fee will be 0. There is a way to avoid all the fees and still do a surcharge model. And the reason I really, I reached out to you, and I appreciate you having us come on in a quick time. the reason I really wanted to reach out to you and your group is there are, we'll call them the Visa police, MasterCard police. It's happening. People are starting to get fines. This is not something.
What do they do? Remind us, just catch us up. If someone's listening to this in their car, what are they getting fined? Even if you have to repeat what you had told us, it's like when we repeat to patients, when we know, what are they getting fined for? What's the action that caused them to get fined?
Right. If the wording is wrong and it's really a surcharge, right? If you say convenience fee, can't say that. If you say surcharge and it's on debit cards also, can't say that. If you're doing the cash discount, the percentage increase, the service fee and the discount amount have to be different percentages, and the dollar amount have to be different percentages. So you can't say, hey, listen, on $100 sale, we have a service fee of 3% to make it 103. If you pay by cash, you'll get 100. It's the same thing as a surcharge. They're very, very specific in the dollar amounts and percentages have to be different. So it's in the signage.
What would be
simple?
that 103 sounds simple to me. What's wrong with that one?
You can't go from 100 to 103, and then if someone pays by cash, go back to 100. That's a surcharge. You could go from 100 to 103 and then go down to 150 cents or $99.50. The dollar amount and percentages cannot be the same.
Dollar percent can't be the same. And this is, we've signed this in our agreements that we don't even know, right?
Yeah, it's in the Visa. Well, it's part of what's called the Durbin Act. It's not even Visa MasterCard. The Durbin Act from Senator Durbin was passed 10 or 12 years ago. It is in the Senate passed a bill that says you are not allowed to do this on debit cards. So it is actually illegal. Forget about Visa MasterCard. It's really not legal to do it. And if anyone's interested, they can text you, get to us. The one thing that you have to realize is if you're going to do surcharge or cash discount, you're probably not doing it inside a Dentrix or an EagleSoft. You're probably going to do it outside. You're probably going to have a separate credit card machine. Okay.
Gotcha.
But if you have a practice doing 100,000 a month and you're paying $30,000 a year to get rid of that, I mean, you have to have $150,000 in sales to make $30,000. I mean, it's a lot of money to put back into the bottom line.
And you and your team can not only help find out if the credit card processing fees are ripping you off and either saying you're good or save you money. You also can help as a resource with some of this. Is that accurate?
Yeah. And listen, Paul, the way I look at it is if you use our service to negotiate your fees to the absolute bottom, then why pass the fee at that point?
Right.
If you're paying 3 or 4%, I get it. You're going, this is a lot of money. If we get you to the right rate and we get everything squared up, you know what? Why pass the fee at that point?
Well, I want to say something, and there's two schools of thought here, and there is an annoyance fee that doesn't always make you look classy when you do this.
Right.
And if you can get lower, and if that 30,000 turns to 14,700 or 16,700, it may be worth the proudly saying to your patients, however you pay to take care of this, we're glad to have you do it. I mean, dentists have gotten in trouble with checks, because if check bounces, check problem, there still is a enormous value to swiping and having your money, in that moment.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing for dentists is if you do take insurance, you got to check your insurance contracts to make sure, hey, is it okay to charge more than the rate to cover the credit card fee? Right. So there is something there as well. But whatever anyone needs, I mean, kind of to summarize, whether you want to do surcharge, cash discount, lower your fees, anything credit card related, guys, we've been doing this 25 years. We built technology to read everything. Our whole goal is this: transparency and ethics. And the reason I built this is credit card service is unregulated. It's one of the last industries in this country that actually has no regulation behind it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And just to, reinforce, I don't repeat myself, I tell my wife, just to reinforce, you've helped dentists in our audience and our community. Nothing bad happens. Merchant Advocate team says, hey guys, good job with your fees. And you should be thrilled because that means for a decade you weren't paying more. So
Right.
you get to smile because of that, right? Even though you guys don't enter. And then for the other one saying, hey, we can reduce this. I think one of our Nacho members is saving $600 a month, right? So I mean,
Yep.
that's $7,000 a year. If he went the next 10 years without having met you, it's $70,000 he could have used for other things.
Yeah, and listen, it's not just fixing it once. We just had a dental office, been on our, our platform. We have a multi-year contract, but it goes month to month afterwards. Been on our platform for 10 years. Last month, the processor decided to increase them an $1,800 a month extra.
Jeez.
We caught it. If we weren't there, yeah, it might be high, but they wouldn't know what to do or how to do it, right?
Right.
So it's this constant, we will fix it. But the other thing that we do is we monitor every month. We get the statement from you guys or from the processor. We monitor statement every month. So when they increase rates, when they make changes, when they hide fees, right? We go back in, let you know about it and renegotiate. So it's not one and done. We're working on your behalf of their accounts every single month.
You're the Robin Hood of credit card processing. My next question for Eric, I won't keep you too much longer, but a good thought. Let's say we have a lot of startup dentists in our audience. So let's say they're watching, go, I want to do this right, but I don't have a machine. I don't have a terminal. Can you walk us through how you would start up a practice and them, what would you do for them? Would they be able to get the machine through you? Is there machines anymore? I might be out of the game.
Well, it's machines or virtual terminals. Here's the thing for startups. This is where the benefit of the relationship is. Because I've been around 25 years, I have 5 different processing companies. Because remember, we're not a processor. We earn money on savings. I have 5 companies that I could put up, make a phone call and go, hey, I have a brand new business. I need it just over cost. Can you take care of them? It's a courtesy. I don't charge for it. If someone wants me to monitor account 6 months later to make sure everything's okay, we could talk about that. But if someone's on this or watching this and you're opening up a practice and you're going, I need credit card service, don't run to your bank because they're not processors. They all outsource it, number one, except for Chase. They actually are a processor, but I wouldn't go there. Come to us. We have friends that are processors. We have a couple CEOs that we know. We could get you the machines or the virtual terminals. We could get you processing at a fraction over cost. And I say that it's kind of interesting because I don't make money on that. That's not where I make money. It's kind of a value add of, hey, this idea of Robin Hood or doing the right thing. I do believe in karma. I believe it comes back. Because if I have someone that needs a machine and we set it up, they know 10 other people that are going to need my other service, right?
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. They're going to be at a dental conference and talk to someone about you. So you've shared tremendous value with us, Eric. We're going to drop your guys' link. People can text merchant at 215-543-6454. Is there anything I missed in this? You talked about a lawsuit or Visa MasterCard lawsuit.
Oh, yeah. So there's been a Visa MasterCard lawsuit, class action that's been going on for 15 years. And listen, it could be $100, could be $5,000. No one knows what the claim is. It's coming close. We have a company we work with that'll actually do all the work for you. They do take a percentage as well, 20 or 25%. But if you have not signed up to get a piece of the Visa MasterCard lawsuit that happened, contact us. We have a couple relationships. We could help with that as well. We are working, actually, no one knows, by the way, when it's going to be funded, but I just talked to a company that potentially could pre-fund the settlement, meaning if you do something, they'll discount it, but they'll give you money today, even though it's 2 to 3 years from now until it's settled. So if you haven't signed up for it, again,
how do you know if you should be signing up for it? Is there any indication?
If you process credit cards between 2004 and 2019, you should sign up for it.
Oh, wow. That's good. And where do you go to? You can talk to you guys about signing up for it?
We have a link, and what we'll do is Mike Dringus, who is our main contact with you guys. I don't have the link today. Sorry, I did not put that out there. We'll send you the link. We have 2 companies. Next week, we'll send you the link. They could go in. There's no fee. It's pure contingent. So there's no reason not to sign up. In fact, one of the companies, I'll tell you real quick, I know we're running out of time, but the settlement company actually did the Visa MasterCard lawsuit, but there was also something called an optical disc drive lawsuit, no idea, and a dental supply lawsuit that happened years ago. They will look at any potential settlement that you could be a part of, and you do no work. Once you're with them, I had a merchant get $5,000 in the mail. And
We
he
need
called me
it,
up
but
and-
Michael's here, hang with us, so we'll get that link from him and send it
Yeah.
out for sure.
Yeah, that would be great.
I want to thank you, Erica. Hang around with me for a few minutes. You delivered such great value. We'll share this to learn more about what you guys do to truly help dentists save money forever. Text merchant to 215-543-6454 or reach out to us at dentalnachos.com.